Welcome students. Let's continue our class on grammar. Today we are going to learn about pronoun. Okay, so the topic that we are going to cover today is pronoun. So let's understand what pronoun is. Pronoun is a word that replaces noun in any sentence, paragraph or any part of speech, right? And pronoun has few types. So we will not cover all the types. We will cover those in future lectures. But today we are going to cover few of the types. So pronoun is a word that replaces noun, right? So let's say there's a guy named Ramu goes to school, right? Now if you want to continue the sentence and you want to refer to Ramu, in the next line you can say he has a bicycle, right? So here he is a pronoun. So you are replacing a noun. Ramu is the name of a person, right? So we have learned what is a noun. So we are replacing a noun here in the next sentence with a word that is called pronoun. So that is this an example of a pronoun. Let's learn about the types. Okay. So pronoun, the most common type of pronouns are personal pronoun. So when you're talking about someone, something, right? So if you're talking about a person, it is called a personal pronoun. It can be a subject or an object, right? Now if you're talking about some possession of that person, right? So that is called a possessive pronoun. We'll talk about all these through an example, but for now, the second, if you're talking about the possession, it is called a possessive pronoun. And then you are referring back to that pronoun. If you're referring to a person or a thing, it is called a reflexive pronoun. Right? So let's learn about these three types of pronouns. Okay. So what is a personal pronoun, right? So if you're talking about a person, it can be a first person, second person, or a third person, right? So if you're talking about a first person and a singular, let's say I'm talking about myself, right? I. So it can be singular or a plural. Okay. So if you're talking about first person singular, you're talking about I'm talking about I, right? If you're talking about a first person plural, I'm talking about we, right? So this is singular first person, plural first person we, right? Now let's say you're talking about the second person, right? So I'm talking about you. So if I'm talking about you, singular first person, second person is you, and plural of it is again you, right? Let's say I'm talking about a third person, right? So if I'm talking about a third person who is not here, right, and that person is masculine, so I'm talking about somebody he, right? If I'm talking about someone who is a feminine, right, a female, so I'll say she. So he and she are singular third person, right? Now let's say I'm talking about someone who is gender neutral. Let's say I'm talking about a dog, right? So I usually call it it, right? That is singular third person, gender neutral, right? Now, plural of this is they, right? So if I'm talking about a gender neutral and then third person, the plural is they. Now, you know what is first person, second person, and third person. So, if you are talking about any person, singular and plural, you will use I, we, you, he, she, it, and they. Let's see the person who is the subject and doing the action, right? So, if you're replacing the subject in the sentence, right? So, you had a sentence what? Ramu goes to school, right? So Ramu is the subject. If you want to replace the subject, so that kind of personal noun is called subject pronoun. Subject pronoun, right? Personal pronoun is called subject pronoun. So you will use I, you, he, she, it, we, you, and they. These are all subject pronoun, right? So subject pronoun will be I, we, you, he, she, it, they. All these are subject pronouns. Now, if you are talking about somebody in a sentence, the pronoun is an object, right? So object meaning Ramu is talking to me. Me here is the subject object pronoun. So object is comes on the second part of the sentence, right? So here Ramu is a noun and he is talking to an object pronoun, me, right? So when you're talking about an object pronoun, singular, first person, right? Object pronoun, it is me. If you're talking about we, group of people or so many, more than one person, it is us. If you're talking about you, so it is again you. If you're talking about he, so object is him, sh, her, it, them, right? So Ramu is talking to her, Ramu is talking to him, um, Ramu is talking to them, Ramu is talking to us, right? So if you are talking about an object, it is object pronoun, it is like this. Now let's say we are talking about a position, right? What Ramu has, right? So if you say, or if you're talking about your own position, you say, this board is mine, right? So this talks about the possession, right? That is called possessive pronoun. So when you're talking about I, the possessive pronoun is mine. If you're talking about us, it's ours, you, yours, him, his, hers, it's, theirs, right? So is the this board is mine, this board is ours, this board is yours, this board is his, this board is hers, this board is its, this board is theirs, right? So if you're talking about possession and you're talking about singular, plural, first person, second person, and third person, the possessive pronoun changes. So similar to subject, object, and possessive, all the pronoun changes according to the gender, masculine or feminine, number, whether it is singular and plural, right? So these are all. Now the last type in this same sequence related to this is reflexive pronoun, right? So what is a reflexive pronoun? So when you're talking to the person and referring back to the pronoun itself, right? So let's say I want to say Ramu does homework himself, right? So you're referring to the original noun, right? through a pronoun that okay, he is doing his work himself, right? So that is a reflexive pronoun. So if you're talking about I, right? So the reflexive pronoun is himself. Oh, sorry, myself. And then if you talk about we, it is ourselves. As ourselves, there is a spelling. There is a slight difference in the spelling. When you're talking about singular, it is self, self, and if you're talking about plural, it will be selves, selves, right? You is a plural word, okay? So it will be your selves, right? Then he is a singular word, so it will be himself, herself, itself, themselves, right? So this is a small chart for you to remember how the pronoun, personal pronoun. So personal pronoun is together subject and object pronoun, and then possessive pronoun and the reflexive pronoun. So there is a little relationship between all these kind of pronouns. These are the most common used pronoun. There are other pronouns which are relative pronoun, demonstrative pronoun, interrogative pronoun. We'll learn about all those pronouns in future lecture, but here for this lecture, this is it. Thank you.